Well, welcome everyone today. Really excited to dig in. And as we go throughout, if you have questions, pop them in the chat. You will notice that you are all muted right now, but we will have a dedicated kind of Q&A session at the end. So about 10 to 15 minutes where I'd love to be in conversation and hear some other voices than my own. So please feel free when we get into that session to unmute and join the conversation. And one other note for you all, we are recording today's session, so if you want to watch it back, and if you are excited to share it with folks, please do. You'll be getting that recording by the end of the day tomorrow. So without further ado, please pop into the chat where you're coming from. I love to know all over the NationBuilder. I'm beaming in from a very hot and muggy Boston. It is like 100 degrees outside, so doing a little bit of deep air conditioning fan situation here. And then we have our amazing Chief Strategy Officer, Hilary Doe, and Sasha Anad, who heads up partnerships at Action Button. So we will be taking you through a session today. Up first, Hilary's going to give us kind of an overview. I will talk a little bit about NationBuilder. Then Sasha will kind of dive in on what Action Button offers. And then we'll actually go into a demo to look at some of the product features that we have both on the NationBuilder side as well as the Action Button side. So with that said, Hilary, I'm going to kick it over to you to take us away.
Thanks, Soursh. Yep, so nice to be with everybody. Soursh, you cut out for just a second, just as a heads up in case there's anything you can do on your side, but I think you're all right. Good to see everybody here today. I'm really eager to be with you all. Also, I noticed somebody else from Detroit in the chat. I'm joining from Detroit today, so we should hang out sometime. Hopefully you're okay post-flood. We'll see each other soon. So I wanted to just kick us off quickly. Like Sorsha said, I'm Chief Strategy Officer at NationBuilder. I've been here for almost 8 years now, 7.5 years, and it's just been so wonderful to see the product continuing to evolve. And it's truly all in pursuit of our mission. We're always really trying to ensure and we're providing technology that can democratize access for folks to the most powerful tools to help them really grow their community of supporters and achieve their missions. And in that whole period of time, in that 7.5 years, I'd say that this is one of the most exciting announcements that I've gotten to participate in, and one of the most exciting kind of product launches or releases or whatever that I've gotten to participate in. So I'm grateful to Sorsha and Sasha for letting me jump in. We have been working really hard over the last, however many months, talking about the potential for this partnership. And it really has felt right, the whole way through. We're just so mission aligned on wanting folks to be able to take action. And it just seems like it's such an incredible opportunity for the existing NationBuilder community and all the new folks out there who really want to be able to engage people in new ways, to get the chance to do that with Action Button. And I think it's fair to say that this Action Button release really means that we'll have all kinds of plethora, which we'll talk to you about today, of new ways for NationBuilder customers to engage their communities, and also a plethora of new ways to reach new supporters and really grow the number of folks that know about what you all are up to. I also just think it's a step for us in really being even more best in class than we already were in driving action and moving supporters to action. So, not just passive email recipients, but like active participants in helping you achieve your mission. So really excited about it. Excited for you to hear from everybody else today. Just in terms of kind of what to expect coming down the pipe. Right now, starting today, anybody can go try out some of what we'll see in this webinar today at actionbutton.org. You can, as the exact links here. So if you put in register, you'll go directly where you need to go, and you can test out building a button. It'll let you, go ahead and go through the experience of what it's like to build a donation button or a petition button or sentiment polling or what have you. And then you'll be able to, as Source is going to show you, use that button on your own site or, just test it out, basically take the features for a test drive. But what's coming next is even more exciting. So for existing NationBuilder customers, soon you'll see an add-on in your control panel that you can add on to unlock even more features than are available today in the free test BYOB option. So more legislative advocacy functionality, more theming, customizations. You can put your own logo there, and a more integrated experience for our existing customers so you can get that data in your nation really easily that comes from the new supporters. If you're an enterprise customer that needs a kind of custom integration, that already is available to you. So our Pro Serve team is already able to help facilitate this, and you can use Action Button today. So feel free to reach out to your account manager if you're excited about anything you see, and we'll help you get set up. And then the last beat here that's also already available today for folks here who are in the brand space doing purpose-driven brand work, or big nonprofits more in the enterprise space. We have Action Button's premium product that's obviously already been in the market. It was the thing that was live when we got so excited about Action Button being part of the NationBuilder family. And you'll learn a little bit more about that today, where you can place these action buttons and really calls to action for your cause into our publisher network, so you can kind of meet people at the point of inspiration when they're reading an article about your cause. So we'll hear more about all of that today. Just wanted to kind of lay out what's coming down the pipe for folks, and I'll turn it over to everyone who's going to show you the product. So Sorsha, is that you next?
Yes, awesome. Thank you so much, Hilary. Okay, so before we dive in, we know that solving today's biggest challenge is not about one leader, it's about millions. And for those of you who've been in the NationBuilder family for a while, you know that NationBuilder exists to make it possible for anyone to easily mobilize their community and then lead them to action. Our theory of change is put into practice every day, with each of our customers driving to create the change that they actually desire to see in the world. And to ensure that we are focused on this, we as NationBuilder lean really heavily into our company mission and our vision. And with all of the interactions from our product development to the way that we support our customers, that is what we ground ourselves in. So what is that vision and mission? It is to make it possible for anyone everywhere to take action, to lead their community, to start an organization, a campaign, a business, a nonprofit. That is why we exist. And the mission is the reason we do what we do every single day. Our software is the infrastructure that empowers our customers, and I know some of you in the room today are our customers, to develop and organize thriving communities. And for those of you that may not know exactly what our software is, it is a fully integrated platform. We have the ability to host a dynamic people database. So think your voters, your volunteers, your donors, your supporters. They can then interact with multiple websites that you can host on our CMS, right? You have the ability to create multiple websites where you can create action pages, petitions, event signups, etc. You then also have the ability to email those folks and text those individuals, right? How are you communicating with the people that are coming into your community? And last but definitely not least, the ability to fundraise through NationBuilder payments. The power of NationBuilder comes in with this integrated platform to provide you the infrastructure you need to actually organize your community. And with the joining of forces, we now have combined the brilliance of Action Button's ability to meet people where they are at with the power of NationBuilder's infrastructure, ultimately giving people the chance to take not just one action, but then to do so continually, becoming a part of the communities that you have already built on your NationBuilder infrastructure. And with that said, I'm going to hand it over to Sasha, who's going to run us through all things Action Button.
Thanks so much, Sorsha. And you just touched on all the reasons why we're also excited to be part of the NationBuilder family. I think plugging into this really robust infrastructure that NationBuilder has created is really where the power of Action Button will really be taken to the next level. So excited to be here with you all and introduce you to our platform, Action Button. And so much exciting stuff to come over the next few months. But today we'll just take a few moments to introduce you to the platform, show you a little bit about the capabilities, and then Sorsha will take you through a quick live demo of how you can start building your own buttons today, which is super exciting. But just to dive right into what Action Button is and why we created this platform, it's really to make taking action easier for people in those moments when they're inspired. So whether it's your community getting your latest newsletter, or visiting your website to read your latest blog post, or somebody who's reading about how the post-pandemic world looks like for restaurant workers, it's all about showing up in those moments when folks are inspired and looking for a way to help. And if that's as simple as, providing a donation to an organization that needs help, or if it's signing up to volunteer in your local community, Action Button is all about showing up in those right moments. And just to talk a little bit about the different actions that you can take. Source, if you could just go to the next slide, I'll take you through kind of the different ways you can drive action with the Action Button platform. So it has evolved quite a bit over the last few years, and ultimately has become a really powerful tool for you to really learn from your community and inform your strategy as you move them to different types of actions. So with Action Button, you can do everything from gathering insights via polls and quizzes, and we have several really interactive formats that you can test out within the Build Your Own platform soon. You can raise awareness, of course, about initiatives and help build your audience. We also offer ways to allow people to share their stories via messages or videos, contact legislators with email, tweets, or calls, register to vote if that's relevant, or check your polling location, and even donate or volunteer locally in your community. So these are just some of the actions that we offer today. And as we join forces with NationBuilder, this list will only continue to grow to serve all of your needs. And the whole idea here is to weave different actions together. So depending on your specific goals of the week or the month or the year, you can leverage this platform to really create customized buttons to speak to your audience. And of course, with the goal of really moving people towards action. I'll talk a little bit about how the platform works. And Hilary had mentioned we have a premium offering that allows you to place Action Button out in the world. So I'll talk a little bit about that here. But at the simplest level, you'll be able to use our platform to create those customized action buttons. So whether it's a quiz or a donation, you'll be able to really from scratch create your own action buttons and then embed them, whether that's on your website, on your social media, wherever your community is. Really, that's where we'll work with you to have action buttons show up and make the process of connecting with your mission and your organization easier. So with Build Your Own Action Button, you'll be able to place action buttons right on your website, and Sorsha will walk you through that in just a second. And then the other offering we provide is a way to actually place action buttons and content that are related to your organization's mission. So whether it's climate change or fighting for caretaker support in our country, whatever it looks like, you will be able to show up in those moments where people are reading about those topics. And that's really the power of what we've built with the Action Button platform is showing up in those moments people are inspired. And so we can definitely take more time after today's webinar to meet with you all and talk about what that offering looks like. But just wanted to quickly explain that we do also offer a way for you to connect out with new supporters and find them out when they're reading related content. And then the last piece, of course, with the platform is that we're collecting and learning data all along the way. And so again, with the power of NationBuilder, sharing all of this data into your nation, really helping you inform where people are in their journey as they're connecting with your cause, and really making sure that you're giving them the right messaging and at the right times really is the key that we'll learn with the data through Action Button. And I'll talk through just a couple of quick examples here so you can start to visualize how you can really customize the Action Button experience. And these will be through a couple of campaigns that we've worked on over the last couple of years with our customers, predominantly here in the US. And we also will be rolling out global capabilities as well. So everybody stay tuned for more information on that. With Beauty Counter specifically, we worked to actually help them change legislation in the US for the first time in 80 years, which was just a really great pleasure to be a part of as a campaign. And the way that they used Action Button was simply to connect with people who care about cosmetics and the beauty industry and help them understand that the laws need to change to ensure that there's chemicals are not in their products at the very simplest level. So you could imagine these action buttons being placed in articles about beauty products, about legislation that's coming up, and pulling in the right people to help join Beauty Counter in that fight and support with a real true action to make change. A couple of other quick examples so you can see some different applications of Action Button. Of course, on the right-hand side, you'll see kind of the stats of how many people we reached, how many actions we got them to take, which is just really powerful when you see what it means to connect with people in the right moments. GM is a campaign that we worked on to help really inspire a movement towards electric vehicles and get people more comfortable with the idea of this new change that's coming into our world. And with this campaign we developed with GM, we helped reach over 17 million people. Over 250,000 action engagements were taken through this campaign. And the most exciting point in this, I think, is that we also did a third-party brand lift study to really see how people were responding to this type of creative within content. And we saw an 18% increase in brand perception, which just is a testament to the authenticity that Action Button provides. And again, showing up when people are really thinking about these specific issues that are in our world. And then lastly, just another way to show you a different way to apply Action Button within an event situation. So this actually was with a media partner that we work with, the Today Show, and they did a series around the holidays to help encourage donations to Feeding America and Toys for Tots, as we were kind of in the height of the pandemic and a lot of people needed help. And so they took initiative and they actually put a QR code, you'll see on the bottom left-hand side, on screen for almost an entire week. And we were able to help, with the ease of Action Button, raise over $3 million from over 25,000 people, literally in just a few days. So again, just showing the power of collective action, of showing up in the right moments and making it easier for folks to do what you're asking them to do is really the key here. So we're so excited to, again, join forces with NationBuilder and show you all the different ways Action Button will help you connect and really build a strong community. So just to touch on some of the key components of why Action Button will hopefully be relevant to your workflow, and as you build it into your NationBuilder experience, it's really all about creating authentic engagement with people, allowing them and empowering them to take action so we can build trust, using our patented contextual targeting product. If you want to get out to the world and find new supporters, we found it really creates industry-leading engagement rates, which is amazing to see. And then of course, all of the unique data, insights, and impact we'll get to measure along the way and inform your experience with your community is going to be key into helping build those relationships in the future as well. And so excited now, Sorsha will be jumping right into the Build Your Own Action Button platform so you can see how easy it is to start doing it yourself.
Yes, thank you so much, Sasha. That was awesome. Okay. So you will see right here, I am at actionbutton.org/dashboard. That is because I've logged in and have gone through the process of creating my own account. So what we're going to do is we are going to go through and we're actually going to create a new button. So to do that, you are clicking here. You have the option to do a single action or sequenced action. I'm going to go ahead and do a single action. And immediately you are prompted with all of the different actions that Sasha just talked us through. So we've got the poll, we've got a petition, we have the ability to contact our reps, a sentiment poll. And I'm going to go ahead and grab us a sentiment poll. And we are going to just create our first action. So I am going to see, are you likely to share your books? Maybe you are, maybe you're not. I love those little book, the little house books that are just around town. One of my favorites. So I'm going to go here. So this is going to be not likely for folks who like to hog a book. I get it. Or very likely. All right. Nothing particularly difficult there, right? Just very basic. What's the question? What are we trying to understand? That's what that sentiment poll is looking for. Now we're going to hit next and we've done it. We created our first sentiment poll. So we are now being shown what that is going to look like. And on the right-hand side, you are being given some options in terms of how you can share this, how you can actually use this infrastructure. So if you are using a NationBuilder website, you can go ahead right here and just copy this embed snippet. So I'm going to do that. I've copied it. And now I'm going to jump over into my Nation. For those of you who are using NationBuilder, you'll be very accustomed to this. For those of you who aren't, this is the control panel of your Nation. Every time you log in, you'll land on that goals dashboard to make sure you know what you're doing in terms of your goals. And for today's session, I'm going to navigate straight into the website area. So I'm going to jump in here and I'm going to go to my We Love Books website. And I'm going to create a new page. So I'm going to go in here and create a new page. Just to note, you can put this on pages that currently exist. But just for the purposes of today, I'm going to go ahead and create a new page. This is going to be a We Love the Books page. Awesome. I'm going to live on the edge. I'm going to publish it. Don't recommend that unless you are ready to go live. Keep it unlisted while you're working on it. And I'm going to just use a basic page. But like I said, you can pop this into blogs. You can pop this into your sign up pages, whatever your strategy is as it pertains to engaging people. That's where you can use these actions. So we're going to go down here. I'm not going to include it in top nav, and I'm going to go ahead and create that page. Awesome. So important thing to note here, when you grab that embed, you are not going to put it into the WYSIWYG. You are going to navigate into your template. If you are using one of NationBuilder's standard or stock themes, you are able to go into the template. If you are using a custom theme, I would recommend speaking with your architect who develops that theme on the best place at which to place it. So I'm going to go in here. I am using one of our stock themes, and I'm just going to create a custom theme. I'm then going to just pop down. I'm also not someone who does HTML, so this is how easy this is. And I'm just going to paste it. That is now pasted, and I am going to save and publish the changes on this page. And we are now going to go live to our page that has no other content on it. And we will see, once it loads, we have now embedded our action button on a NationBuilder website. So I'm going to go ahead and I am going to take the action. It's very likely. Great. So we've now seen what that looks like. I'm going to jump back over in here and I'm going to go in and see what it looks like on this end. So here we see we have two different buttons that I have created. One is my beach cleanup. The other is my books button that we just created. If I click here, you can go in and edit that button or again, grab that embed code. But if I click into this view button, this is where you're going to see the data from who's engaging on this particular poll. In this instance, we are not gathering personal information. We're not gathering an email address or a first name or a last name, etc. We're just gathering an aggregate so we can understand where people land on the question at which you're asking. So that type of data isn't necessarily going to come back into your nation. There are a number of ways you can think about getting creative. If you want to bring that type of data in, we could create an organization profile, you can repurpose a field, but what this is designed for here is to give you an understanding of where people are at on the issues that you care about and that you're interested in engaging with. Okay, any questions? Anyone have, I can't see the chat, so I'm just gonna look at the chat. Anyone? No, just lovely areas of where people are, fantastic. Oh, am I getting questions? Awesome. In terms of mobilizing folks to contact their reps, can you talk about how Action Button compares to New Mode? New Mode integrates with NationBuilder, and relatedly, what's Action Button's source of contact for info of reps? That is a fantastic question. As NationBuilder, we have an open ecosystem, as everyone knows, and we work with a number of legislative advocacy applications and organizations as a whole. And I saw Hilary unmute, so I'm going to kick it to Hill.
Well, I don't have to speak to it. Yeah. Yeah, everyone obviously will be able to continue to use any of the apps that you might already using for legislative advocacy. As you saw, Action Button offers a broad swath, not just legislative advocacy. So you might want to use Action Button for some of those other things, even if you continue to use a new mode or something else. But if you want to use the legislative advocacy functionality, you can try what's available for free here on BYOB. Once the add-ons available, actually a lot more functionality will be available in legislative advocacy for NationBuilder customers. So you'll be able to do not just state, but more, or excuse me, not just federal, but state and local reps. That's not available on the sort of BYOB version, will be available on the add-on. You'll also be able to do more custom targets, things like that. So in terms of functionality, it'll be quite comparable to some of those other offerings. And that's just a choice folks can make. Also with the add-on, you'll be able to pull sort of data in. That is not as easy on BYOB. Like you can see, you can grab the embed and pop it into the nation, but that integration will exist with the add-ons that you're pushing and pulling data more easily. So definitely comparable, and again, something you can try out the ease of use on today. And then once the add-on becomes available, something folks can choose to use. In terms of the underlying data set, currently my understanding is they're pulling from Google Civics API. Our product team is in it around that actually, and is looking at adding some more data sources. So yeah, more to come.
Awesome, thank you, Hilary. And just to note, if you are going to kind of go and play around with this, you can absolutely export data and import it into your nation. So that is a way that you can grab that data if you are going to use any of the action buttons that are actually requiring or requesting data sets. Okay, so we have a bunch of questions coming in. I'm going to go through. Okay, so we have, are you able to show us how these can be inputted into related articles that some of our current supporters and potential supporters may be reading?
Yeah.
I can jump in there, Soresh. And just to talk a little bit about the relevant news articles, our team ultimately manages that process. So we have relationships with publishers that allow us to see the content they're producing on a regular basis. What we do with you is we'll work up front to identify who we're looking to find and what kind of content they might be reading. And then our team goes out there and places action buttons in stream within the actual article. And Scott, we'd be happy to share a couple of examples with you so you can see those.
Yep. Yeah, it's not, you can't see live, but they have a great, I mean, it's been really fun for me to get to know their like publisher network and learn more about that. And they're using kind of an algorithm to help you identify content that might be really useful to find the kind of people that are interested in your cause. That's again, you know, kind of a more premium offering, but for everybody. And I'm just saying this because I saw some other things in the chat. You can use those embed codes like you just saw to share the button on social or what have you. You can also embed obviously in any CMS. What you need to run the button like in one place is for it to be able to refresh like on a CMS for the, you know, so if you can put things in email, a link in email, like a picture, what will happen is folks will click it, it'll open a window and then you'll run the button. So that's the experience. We've actually, you know, there's lots of fun product roadmap things we can do. I won't say more than that, so don't get in trouble with product people, but that's how that works today.
Awesome. And Ben, can you give an example for how data can be pulled into NationBuilder, and can the responses be tied to an individual if they are logged in? So yeah, so currently in the build your own experience, you would need to export that data and import it into your nation. You can do that as individual records or organization records, depending on what your strategy is. If you are an enterprise customer right now, there is an integration that you can use. And so if you are, please speak to your account manager about that. But the goal is to have that be seamless, like Hilary had named, where that integration will just automatically take place. But right now it's obviously build your own, and then you can import, export that data set. Okay, so then I have, with the add-on, will I be able to add the sentiment information, for example, as a tag to a respondent's profile? So sentiment and aggregate data as a whole is not something that we have like a field set for right now within the people infrastructure of NationBuilder. But there are many different ways that we can kind of start to think about that. And that absolutely will be kind of led by Hilary and the product team in terms of what that roadmap is. But one of our calls to action for you all today is to share our product feedback link with you all so that you can actually get in there and share that feedback as you start to test it. And it's Josh. Josh, yes, you can add it to the organization profile right now. So you could create an organization profile for the sentiment poll, and then from there be able to create aggregate totals. You wouldn't be able to add it to a respondent's profile because you're not gathering PII data. So it would need to be an organization profile.
Just a note on that. So once if you do make a button, say that collects email addresses or what have you, which again, there'll be a lot more options for that in the add-on. There's data exports that have all this info, and so you could import them with and make a tag that way. Again, more and more seamless once the add-ons launch, but that's totally available. So you can see the people and their data alongside the their response, and then use that to import an append tag if you want to do it that way, for sure. But yeah, you get more seamless as we go. Good to see you, Josh. I don't see you. Hello.
Okay, so then I have Jenny is asking, how much will the add-on be once it's available, and is it included in the current NationBuilder subscription, or is there somewhere else that I can dig into that information?
Yep, there'll always be a free option available for folks, just this kind of more limited option with more, if you want more of the sort of custom theming in your logo and legislative advocacy and things like that, that will be available much more cheaply for NationBuilder customers than for the general public, because the general public can go and buy this as well, but there'll be a few different options basically for you. We're finishing all of that, and you'll see it in months to come, but yeah, there'll always be a free version, and then there'll be a couple different packages basically available to NationBuilder customers for a nice discount relative to the rest of the world.
Thank you, Hilary. And Emily Lim has asked, if you run a contact your members campaign, how will participant action data sync back into NationBuilder, or is it only viewable in Action Button? And can you customize any of the colors and design? So I think we've answered some of those, but just to be super clear, right now, if you're using Build Your Own, you would export that data both from the legislator as well as the action taker, and you would then import that into your nation. But long term, the goal is for that data to automatically sync. And on the customization, again, long term, the goal is for that to be available. Right now within Build Your Own button, it is not, but that will be a part of the add-on infrastructures that Hilary spoke to. Does this work in the US? Oh, sorry, Hilary, go for it.
No, I was actually going to say that there's a bunch of people asking for different countries and things like that. Add-ons available for anybody, so anybody can make them and use those buttons, embed those buttons. The only limitation, tell me if I'm wrong, yell at me, Sasha. The only limitation is on the contact your reps, contact your legislators buttons. In the BYOB version right now, it's US federal. I believe we also have UK federal that's going to roll out to BYOB. With the add-on, you'll get more, like I said, state and locals. And we have definitely, because we know we have such a robust international customer base, an eye to continuing to improve legislative functionality, but everything else is available to everybody, if that's helpful.
Awesome. Thank you, Hilary. And I saw one specifically asking about Canadian enterprise customers. It absolutely is available. So please reach out to your enterprise account manager and they'll be able to walk you through it. So I will absolutely, so to show you an example of how the contact your legislator button works, as you see, I am in here right now. And to Hilary's point, we can see UK MPs, US senators and reps. So I'm going to go ahead and pick that. My question can be, will you give me free coffee? Because I love a cup of coffee for free. And my description is, I want them to send an email. My issue is going to be something in here. I don't see coffee as a thing. That's fine. We're going to go with basic education. And my email subject, so, you know, I need coffee. And here, please get legislation for free coffee going. Right? Really simple. That's how you kind of pop that in. We're going to go ahead and hit next. And same flow. So what we just did with the sentiment poll, we would go in here, we would grab that embed code, or to Hilary's point, there are other, if you're not using NationBuilder's website, you can grab the specific URLs that you would need for other areas. So if you have a different website platform, if you want it on social, etc., that is how you would do that.
If you want, so she can press the link button and I think it will, people can see it, but yeah, it's really straightforward. The flow is what you would imagine. You can see who those are. They're geocoded. There's always a prompt that says if it's not your rep, or if you don't think it's your rep, you can click that link, put your address in, and it'll give you different, you know, the appropriately geocoded reps. And yeah, once you send, you can kind of see in every action button, you can kind of see how other people, if other people are doing it or have responded, or sort of how many people have taken the action, some kind of piece of data to keep that really engaging for folks. And on the back end, obviously, you can see who's taking those actions. On these buttons, you can choose to collect email information as well from the folks who are taking that action. And more of that functionality will be coming soon in the add-on.
Awesome, thanks, Phil. And the question I see here is, will we be able to associate a NationBuilder ID with a button response? The answer to that is yes, but only when there is individual, so personal identifiable information that's being collected on the action. So that would be pointing to the integration specifically. If you are doing exports, imports, you will want to use the unique identifier of the email address, as you won't have the NationBuilder ID as a field on the action button. And most people, I presume nearly all people, don't know that they have a NationBuilder ID. So that's how that will work. Awesome. When will the add-on be launched? is, I'm going to punt that.
Oh, sorry.
Oh.
I was trying to find the mute button. Didn't mean to leave you hanging there, Serge. We're saying months to come because product development is hard. But my bullish guess, it's certainly coming this summer. And my bullish guess is we'll get there, by the end of July. So everybody's really pushing hard on our side to make as much of this functionality available to as many folks as possible, as seamlessly as possible. Because again, a lot's available today on the free version, but want to make sure we open all the feature setup to NationBuilder folks as soon as we can.
Awesome. Can we use it for the upcoming federal election and send it out to all candidates in our riding area? Marg, will you just give me a little bit more information on can we use it? Are you talking about a specific button, a specific action type?
Thank you. Yes, I was just wondering if with the federal election coming up and we want to get all of our members at Clinton Labor Council, where I'm president, to sort of get that the same message and point of view to all the candidates in the ridings. Is that something that the information would be in there, or do we have to manually input all of the candidates' information first and then send it out?
Sure. Yeah, well, all the elected official data is in there because Google Civic CPI is folks who are elected already. If they're candidates, it's not in there. And you would want to use to upload your own targets, which is, as folks know who use other legislative apps, pretty common. You'll be able to do that in the add-on. There's that functionality exists in that version. It isn't in this free version, so you can't futz with it yet, but definitely something that would be available to play with once the add-on's live.
Awesome. Thank you. That's
Thank
great.
you.
Okay. Can you tag folks in NationBuilder who are taking action through a given button? Yes. So both in the current version right now with that import or export import, and as well that will be part of the integration once we have that built out.
And I don't mean to drag everyone into the things I think are interesting, but just related to that, I know we're talking a lot about, tagging folks. I think that's because folks are likely excited about some of the sentiment stuff and all of that. And it is really exciting and pretty unusual for most other kinds of services like this. It was part of the reason that we really loved meeting the folks at Action Button, because they have so much interesting kind of sentiment polling. Also the quiz functionality. If you all are playing with something, I would highly suggest playing with the quiz. It's something that's really, really engaging. The engagement rate, if you send those to folks and make them available to folks, is really high. It's kind of gamified inherently, and a really wonderful way to engage your existing supporter base in a new way, and to learn about people who maybe aren't consistent like donors or whatever ever yet, and get a sense of kind of where they are on the spectrum, what they're thinking about. It's something, just as a former organizer myself, or I guess still one at heart, something that I think we kind of underestimate the power of really knowing, have a pulse on where your people are and what they care about. And also obviously gamification is just really incredible as a consistent tool to keep folks, engaged. So something I'd recommend playing with.
Awesome. And as you can see right here, I clearly have a coffee problem this morning. And this is what it looks like to actually go ahead and create that poll, or that quiz, sorry, that Hilary was talking about. Okay, so I have a couple of other questions here. So I've got, for the publishing option, can it be article specific? Like if we know our project will be mentioned in an upcoming LA Times article, or is it broader only?
So a great question, Josh. And yeah, I'd say that we typically tend to go broader so we can catch more folks who are interested in the topic and surrounding content areas that we think that they might be consuming. But if there are specific things happening in the world or specific topics that you want to zero in on, we definitely can make that part of the campaign.
And in the case of a specific article, is running about you, my gut in that would probably come down to you telling the LA Times or the author of the article and then throwing it in. If you had a personal relationship, it's code that they can pop in for sure on anything. And this is part of Sasha's other life. As she's building this publisher network, folks like to have action buttons sometimes because they really do increase time on the page. And so publishers get excited about having more engaging content. So that's something that's definitely possible. I saw one other one quickly about enterprise. So I'll just speak to that really briefly. So enterprise is already, because the integration is a little bit more custom, you don't have to wait on the add-on. So it's already available to folks. You can reach out to an enterprise account manager. They can give you a rundown of the full feature functionality, but there's a lot of functionality in there, including not just email your legislator, but calls, also tweets, custom target lists. I could go on. There's a bunch more in there, but anyway, worth having an account manager conversation if you want to get the full lowdown.
So thank you. In your example, you showed a QR code. Is this an action button for us to test out now in the Build Your Own?
So there's not a QR code creation in the BYOB, like where you can just click a button and makes a QR code, but there are tons of services where you can make QR codes, and I highly recommend it. It's like something people are a lot more familiar with now than they were, a year and a half ago, because we all had to QR code every menu we've looked at in the last 18 months. So yeah, it's really effective for donations and fundraising. You would basically click that share button, the link button. It gives you a URL, and then you can just use it to put in a QR code generator and make a QR code. We're actually, again, I'm going to make all the product people mad, but making QR codes more natively in NationBuilder is something we're strongly considering. So hopefully more on that soon. I shouldn't be allowed at these things. I'm not going to be allowed to come anymore.
No, we love it. Thank you, Hilary. Is there a plan to make a Call Your Legislators action button available in the near future to organizations without an enterprise plan on NationBuilder?
Absolutely. So that's this add-on that we're talking about. And I was saying, goal is to have that live for folks, certainly in the summer, and pushing really hard to get it out as soon as possible, hopefully end of July or so. And you'll see with that add-on kind of a couple different options for packages and things that you might need. So it's more integrated directly in NationBuilder as opposed to having to do kind of import exports with the BYOB option that you can play with now. So yeah, more coming soon.
Awesome. Yes, you can, Bryce, but not currently. So in the current Build Your Own button, there isn't theme customizations, but as we move into that add-on infrastructure, there will be.
Yep, and logo, all of it.
Awesome. Of course. Any other questions? This is great. I love this level of engagement. Also, feel free to unmute and ask questions. We like to have everyone in the mix. Okay. All right. Well, if there are, oh, Josh, yeah.
Can you give us a price range on publisher? Broad, I won't hold you to it.
No, that's okay. We basically work on a viewable CPM for our publisher campaigns, and that starts at around a $20 viewable CPM. And then we can, based on your kind of timeline and type of campaign you're looking for, we can discuss budgets and all that good stuff as well.
Thank you.
Sure.
Also, now that you spoke, I got to see you, so hi.
We love the NationBuilder fam. Okay. Anything else? We have like 17 minutes left, and this is the end of like the scheduled programming. Okay. Will there be a more detailed training when absolutely. So this is just the beginning, right? Like we announced last week, we wanted to get everyone kind of in the mix. And I also really want your feedback. So Sean, everyone here has my email address. Feel free to shoot me a note if there are specific things you want to dig into. But that is kind of being planned out right now as we speak on the different kind of sessions that we want to make sure that people give. And for anyone who has actually gone through a NationBuilder product training, this will be a part of our NationBuilder product training moving forward. Scott.
Yeah, I'm mostly interested in getting those action items into articles that potential supporters are reading, and Sasha said that they have connections to different publishers and whatnot. Just wondering how to get that set up, how to get a quote on that, and what that looks like.
Yeah, would be happy to set up a time to chat with you on that, Scott, so we can understand kind of your timeline and goals and all that good stuff, and figure out how we can start working together. So I will grab your email from Sorsha and reach out to do that.
Perfect. Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Sure.
And just in general, yeah, Sasha's a great person to talk to. But if you remember this in a month and you don't have Sasha's info, you can always talk to any account manager at NationBuilder, or just call in and we'll make sure you get connected to have that conversation.
Absolutely. Okay. Anything else, wonderful humans? No. All right. Well, I will. Oh, will there be an option to capture action button responses and connect that to their profile without the user having to enter their email? No. And the reason I say no is because you need a unique identifier within NationBuilder to create an account. So you need some type of unique identifier to have that individual profile record. But if you are like, I think there's a lot of strategies, and that, you know, it gets me excited to think about the content we want to produce for everyone as we start to expand this offering. For example, if they logged in on our site. So yeah, so if they logged in through the NationBuilder website with their Facebook account or Twitter account, like if they went through that SSO process, you have that individual record already created in the Nation. And so from that instance, in the add-ons or integration version, you would be able to append a tag to the profile, or however that actually ultimately maps out. But if we're talking about, again, those more like aggregate polls, I think a really good option right now is that organization profile and then repurposing of either a custom field or a native field that you're not using within the platform to capture the aggregate data information. Could a cell phone be used as a unique identifier instead of email? Oh, that's a great question. I wonder if Josh Stewart's on the call. Josh has lots of opinions on email or on phone numbers being a unique identifier. No, phone number is not an actual unique identifier unless it is paired with other identifiable information such as address or first name, last name. Josh is sad about that, I know. So unfortunately, no, that would not work as a unique identifier. Okay. Well, thank you everyone for coming. I'll go for it, Hilary.
No, I was just saying, I love that though. That's why, yeah, this is great for product roadmap stuff. So happy to be here. And yeah, keep sending it along. Like Saoirse said, call to action, I guess, is, you know, ping us with thoughts and feels. We're like in active development and love to hear some of the use cases that everybody will come up with as we get this out in the world. And yeah, I mean, I don't want to step on toes. I know you're going to say grateful for everyone to be here, Saoirse, but I am too. And like I said, it just feels really exciting to kind of enter this new moment and give folks a way to, you know, take all these actions, find new supporters, and place things like far and beyond their NationBuilder websites, so that we can kind of disaggregate those actions and, you know, put them on social media or put them in the world. So really excited to see how everybody uses it, and eager to keep moving forward. So more soon.
Yay. Yes, thank you. And what you can see here is what you can do today, right? So we've talked about this, but go ahead, create that free account at actionbutton.org/register. You can bring that data in through an export import, and then please submit feedback in the follow-up email with the link to the recording. I will share our link to our product board where you can kind of get in the mix. And if you are loving it, please share that with us. That's also great feedback. And if you're having a hard time, that is the same thing. One other thing to note, if you're having any issues getting in with actionbutton.org, there is kind of a chat bot on actionbutton.org where you can immediately interact with us. So please use that if need be. And just thank you. I really appreciate it. Sasha, any closing words from you?
Yes, thank you all. Please start creating action buttons. We can't wait to hear and see all of your feedback as we build it into the product, and so excited to work with you all. Thanks again for the time.
Awesome. Oh, I'm getting some last minute questions. I love it. Is there a contact database within Action Button? No. So there isn't like a CRM or anything. That's where NationBuilder really is kind of very complementary to this software. To measure impact, folks need to be logged into NationBuilder.
No, you can see to measure impact. I mean, so basically, all those buttons are constantly tracking all the responses, whether or not you know who the individual is, and it can be so helpful. I don't mean to beat the drum or whatever, but to see how people who are interacting with you like care about different issues and all of that stuff, even if they're not logged in. So you're always getting responses and feedback and all of that. The thing that you need a unique identifier for is just to get like an individual piece of data onto an individual person's profile in your CRM, because we just don't know which person it is, right? So just in those instances, they either need to be logged in or give you an email address so that we can figure out, like, you know, Sheila that's picked option C, is Sheila in your database? That's the only instance, in case that's helpful.
Thanks, Al. Melissa, I see you've got your hand raised.
Great, thank you. Just a quick question with the integration with social media, such as Facebook.
Mhm.
I understand that it will, let me back up, that the button will track the information. Say we put up a quiz, that it will track that. But will it show in the Facebook Business Suite? Do you know?
No, no. I mean, you mean the
Interactions
response?
and comments and
Right. Oh, go ahead, Sasha. Sorry, I didn't mean to step.
I mentioned that there is the ability to add your Facebook pixel on the back end on your account. So maybe just another piece of feedback for the product team that you can plug that in. You can only use that data for, I think, about 180 days, but whatever data points you want to pull into Facebook is possible through Action Button. So great point. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, but you'd have to, it's basically like something you'd have to do yourself, basically like do that, put that pixel in or whatever. Now today, what it functionally will be on when you press just share, like if all you did was come here and press like the Facebook button, it would functionally place your button in Facebook. People could click it, they could take the action. You would get anyone who interacted with it, you would get to see how they replied. If they gave you email through it, you could get that in your nation in all the ways that we've talked about. But yeah, to track things in like Facebook itself, to Sasha's point, you'd have to engage with the pixel. So perhaps more to come on that. Or if you want more information on that, you can reach out and get some talk to the tech folks.
great, thank you, appreciate it.
Awesome. Okay, so Ben, I'm seeing unrelated. Is NationBuilder looking at dynamic interactive content in emails?
We may or may not have a pod of people working on content and emails right now, but that's all I'll say. That reach out directly, Ben. No.
Yes, Ben, and in the product board link that I will share with you, you're actually going to be able to see kind of some of the work that we are thinking about. So definitely would love your feedback there. And then I believe that question was answered. Okay, cool. Awesome. All right. Okay. Thank you. Expect an email from me by end of day tomorrow. I will give you lots of information and follow up. And as always, please reach out with anything. We love to hear from you all. And thank you for spending the last 52 minutes with us. I really, really appreciate it.